Ever wonder how just a few simple words can feel so powerful, so moving? In this explainer, we're going to take a closer look at a short video from Sanatan teachings. We're basically going to deconstruct it to see exactly how they craft such a compelling spiritual invitation. Let's dive in and see what makes it work. You know, any great invitation has to start with a warm welcome, right? And this one does it with such simple elegance. Just welcome to Sanatan teachings. This isn't just being polite. It's the very first step in creating this open, inclusive space. It sets a really sacred and peaceful tone for everything that's about to come. So, building on that welcome, we move right into our first section, the divine invitation. This is where the message really starts to shift. It's framing the story that's coming up as not just, a story, but as something truly special, an experience that could be transformative. And listen to the language here, it's so specific. Aye bhakto, or come devotees. It doesn't say listeners or viewers. The word devotees instantly creates this feeling of a shared identity, a shared purpose. It makes the whole thing feel really personal, like a call to a community that's been waiting just for you. Then, it gets even more beautiful. The invitation uses this incredible poetic metaphor, describing the story as something that dissolves nectar in the ears. Wow. I mean, that just elevates the whole act of listening from something simple to a divine sensory experience. It's a huge hint that this isn't just information, it's spiritual nourishment. And that whole idea of a beautiful, nectar-like experience, well, that leads us straight into our second section, the nectar-like promise. This is where the invitation gets down to the specifics, detailing the personal benefits for anyone who listens with an open heart. So, what's the big promise here? What do you actually get if you listen with love and devotion? Well, it turns out it's not just one thing. The invitation outlines three really distinct benefits. And what's so powerful about these promises is that they tap into things we all want, right? First up, guidance and protection, which is perfectly symbolized by the Lord holds their hand. Then you get fulfillment and peace with this assurance that no shortcomings remain. And finally, a direct line to the divine through a blessing from Lord Narayan. It's a powerful package of spiritual security. Okay, and this next part is just brilliant. The story is called Bhagavan Ka Prasad, or God's Prasad. Now, prasad is a sacred food offering that's blessed and then shared. So by calling the story prasad, it becomes so much more than a tale you hear. It's a holy gift, a blessing that you actually receive and consume with your senses. This brings us to a really crucial turning point in the invitation, our third section, in the Lord's refuge. This is where you, the listener, are invited to switch from just being a passive bystander to an active participant. It's the real call to action. So the invitation lays out a very clear choice. On one side, you have subgam, all your work, your daily tasks, all the distractions of the world. And on the other side, you have Prabhu ki sharan, the Lord's refuge, the sacred space of peace. You're being invited to consciously put the everyday stuff aside, just for a moment, to embrace something sacred. And get this, what's the commitment they're asking for? Just 2 minutes. That's it. I mean, how smart is that? It's such an incredibly low barrier to entry. It makes the whole request feel so easy, so achievable. For the huge spiritual rewards that are promised, it's a tiny, tiny investment. And that leads to the main invitation, but the phrasing here is absolutely key. To chaliye, chalte hain, which means, so let's go. Notice it's not a command. It's not, you go do this. It's, let's go. The speaker is asking you to join them. This turns a simple instruction into a shared journey, which is just so much more powerful and inviting. And that brings us to the final piece of this incredible narrative arc, Section 4, the final blessing. This is the closing statement, that ultimate assurance that's designed to lock in the whole message and leave a really lasting impression. So the whole invitation builds up to this final guarantee. It's an incredibly powerful, absolute promise. It's designed to dissolve any little bit of hesitation you might still have. It's a rock-solid assurance that your small investment of time and attention is going to have a definite spiritual payoff. Nobody who listens leaves empty-handed. So, after all that, the welcome, the promises, the shared journey, how does it all end? Well, after making its case so beautifully, the invitation concludes with one final unifying call that completely shifts the dynamic one last time. See, the invitation doesn't just end, it transforms. It wraps up with a participatory action. Boliye Jai Sri Ram, or say, Jai Sri Ram. This is a brilliant final move. It turns you from a passive listener into an active participant. It becomes a shared declaration of faith that creates this powerful communal experience, leaving you with a real sense of unity. Just a masterful way to conclude a perfectly structured divine invitation.